What fact are you just tired of explaining to people? Antibiotics will not help your virus, even if you feel really crappy. Not to mention, take the entire dose, don't save half. That's how you train bacteria to be resistant. I need your effing identification information because we are at a bank. I don't care who you say you aren't the person you're claiming to be until I have proof. You can't just walk into the bank, ask for $10K and not expect to be verified. Stop giving me a hard time for protecting your money for you. Wait, people actually do this? How stupid do you have to be to expect the bank to just give you money? I would fucking hope they asked me for ID. I would be mad if they didn't. I'm a programmer. I write programs. I don't know why your computer won't turn on. I usually just say, I didn't program that, sorry. The difference between type 1 and 2 diabetes, two completely different diseases. Being a healthcare worker and sometimes even having to explain it to my coworkers is tiring. Yeah, type 1 is when your own immune system destroys your own pancreas cells capable of producing insulin. It's an autoimmune disease, and without supplied insulin you'll die. Type 2 is when your blood sugar is high enough long enough that your cells become resistant to the mechanism of your own endogenous insulin, which strains and exhausts your pancreas as it churns out more and more insulin to try and clear your blood of excess sugar. It can be managed by diet and lifestyle changes to a point, especially if caught early. You can also have an underactive pancreas relative to other people, whether due to medication or disease, making it harder to clear blood sugar even with a balanced diet. Everything is made of chemicals. Not everything natural is good and not everything man-made is bad. Yes, snake venom and crude oil are both completely natural. Asbestos too. Just because someone doesn't always need their disability aids, that doesn't mean they're not disabled and faking it. Someone who needs a wheelchair to get around doesn't always mean they can't use their legs. They can still walk short distances. Part-time chair user here. When I started, I felt like everyone was looking at me, so I would do less. Despite the fact using the wheelchair allowed me more accessibility. Maintaining a safe following distance is the easiest thing to do to avoid accidents, and yet most people aren't doing it. It's basically impossible to react in time to avoid an accident if you're following less than 2 seconds behind someone. It doesn't get you where you're going faster. The accident will always be your fault. And finally, 2 seconds is way longer than most people think. Most will count 1 second. Gets job at NASA. All extended family asks as if moon landing was real. Pain. I like the implication that, assuming the moon landing was faked, NASA just spills the beans to anyone who is hired, as if it's in some sort of employee handbook. That disagreeing with someone's opinion isn't an attack on them. Or knowing the difference between a fact and an opinion. Just because I work in IT doesn't mean I know everything technology related. It is a vast field. You work in IT, what phone should I get? You work in IT, do you know why this app isn't working? We're not all help desk or some sort of phone tech support, I promise. I stopped telling people I'm a programmer with a degree in IT. I stopped after my fucking pest control guy stopped me and held me up for 30 minutes asking how his Mac got hacked. Like, dude, there are a million possible reasons why your computer is fucked up. I'm not gonna fix it in my goddamn driveway. When you're adjusting the temperature on a thermostat, you're not changing the temperature of air that blows out. You're just changing how long it'll stay on for until it reaches that temp. Never given this any thought. Of course, that's how it works, but I didn't know it because it doesn't particularly matter to me. I have insomnia. No, I can't just think about nothing. Just go to bed earlier. No. Going to bed when you're not tired only makes the problem worse. And just because I have insomnia doesn't mean I'm not tired. If I'm working at night, I need to sleep during some portion of the day. I remember still living at home after high school and getting a job that required midnights for a year. My mom would wake me up and ask me to take my sister to school, or set something out for dinner, or run errands while she was at work since I'm off all day. When I got pissed for being woken up at practically 1 a.m. for a normal person to go get milk from the store, she'd tell me to stop being lazy. Some people have a serious disconnect with this. An hour-long YouTube video about something does not mean that it is true. It could just mean that some crazy or stupid person posted an hour-long video about nothing and you are now dumber for having listened to it, and may God have mercy on your soul. Airplanes don't fall out of the sky when they lose an engine. A 747 can glide nearly 100 miles after losing all engines at cruise. Well, that is very reassuring. Airliners are required to be able to fly after losing one engine. If you lose an engine, you're good with the other ones. If a plane loses all engines, it will be able to glide for a decent amount of time, enough to find an airport and land. Unless you're over the middle of the ocean. If there's no airport after 15 minutes, you are legally allowed to crash. Historic life expectancy is heavily skewed by high infant mortality. If you got past 4 or 5 years old, you had a good chance of making old age. People weren't just dropping dead at 35. Viruses are not bacteria. Bacteria are not viruses. Wi-Fi does not equal internet. I'm mostly telling this to my kids, lol. We frequently lose internet connectivity, but the Wi-Fi will be working fine. They will never understand. I don't know if this will help, but telling people, the Wi-Fi is the pipes and the water is the internet. I can only install the pipes, the utility has to send the water through, seems to help people get the message. When in trade school years back and learning about electricity, the instructor taught us, the water is the electricity. The pressure of the water is voltage. The size of the hose is amperage. Your thumb on the end of the hose is resistance. So many light bulbs turned on that day. LOL. Wheelchairs aren't cheap, and cheap wheelchairs are not suitable for everyone, not suitable for hardly anyone in fact. It's not a choice of a 30,000-pound wheelchair or a 300-pound wheelchair. It's a choice between sitting in a chair that fits the needs of the user that enables them to be active in their life, or sitting in an unsupportive seat on wheels that physically harms the person until they're out of it again. I'm tired and I don't know why I'm tired. Don't get your mental health information from TikTok, Facebook, or self-proclaimed experts who aren't professionally licensed. I no longer offer a professional opinion anywhere outside of work, and that includes Reddit. I've learned that 95% of the time, people don't want to hear the facts, they just want to circle jerk about whatever reality they've conjured up in their heads, and if you correct them, they'll be pissed off and then it's a bad time for everyone. Signed, a psychiatrist. How evolution works. Giraffes didn't stretch their necks. All the ones with short necks repeatedly died before reproducing. Evolutionary filters require mass death and or overpowering reproduction of a mutation. Also, science isn't a belief system. It's a method of repeatable testing. I'm ginger and a lot of people ask me if all my hair is also ginger. My poor wife deals with this as well. What is it about red hair that makes people comfortable with asking about your pubes in public? It's not just redheads though. I come from a family of natural blondes, but pubes are brown. All natural. But mom says that a guy told her when she was younger that she's not a natural blonde because the carpet didn't match the drapes. People can be really stupid. I am not telling you what I did, why it happened, what happened as an excuse. It is an explanation. Why did you fall asleep during the movie? I was tired, don't give me excuses. What the fuck do you want me to say? Or I'm not answering back either. My stepmother says I have an answer for everything and it's like, yeah, you asked a question or implied I had no reason to do something. I'm not a mindless zombie, I do think about my actions. That chronic illness is chronic, like permanent, like forever. Still sick. Not getting better. Get it? Hope you feel better soon. Your opinion does not carry the same weight as an expert who has spent their entire life working on an issue. Corollary. Stop giving extra weight to the opinions of sports movie pop stars on things not related to athletics, showbiz, music. They likely don't know any more than you or me or the person brewing your coffee at Starbucks. My hands shake a little. It becomes worse when I'm anxious, nervous, when people point it out and or tell me to stop shaking. Another thing. I have went to the doctor, a specialist. He told me it's normal. People still try to misdiagnose me with Parkinson's. Worst part, it's always people not on the medical field. I have the exact same affliction. Tremors run in my family. Got made fun of a lot in grade school. Nothing's wrong. It's just my face. Shaving doesn't make your hair grow back thicker. Your mom told you that so you'd shave that awful patchy puberty stache for a few years till it came in thicker. Being an introvert doesn't mean I'm shy. It means having a social battery which gets run down, and sometimes becomes empty if I don't have enough peaceful alone time to recharge it. My job is peoply enough, but at least I'm paid to be there. I actively avoid crowds on my time off. That my lifelong history of depression has little to nothing to do with my relatively stress-free life. People are always saying, "What do you have to be depressed about?" Believe me, I wish it were that simple. That because I can usually figure out how to fix most things does not mean I want to fix everything that breaks for anyone else. That the burden of proof is on the one making the claim. It's not my job to prove an election was not stolen, vaccines don't cause autism, etc. That feelings you have about your thoughts are still feelings and can make or destroy you equally to feelings about non-imaginary situations. I learned this in therapy. I run negative imaginary scenarios in my head a lot. My therapist called this catastrophizing, and need to remind myself to let go of the scenario instead of solving it, because it drains me if I think about it too much. That we are short-staffed, and you're just going to have to wait. Being skinny doesn't mean I'm healthy. I'm just being honest, is not an acceptable excuse for being an a-hole. What fact are you just tired of explaining to people? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.